So it's close enough to 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order of the Board of Raleigh Water Commissioners for 6 o'clock, March 29th. And as a proviso, this meeting is being videotaped. We have some announcements first. I'll do before Citizens Query. The Town of Raleigh Water Department 2015 Annual Water Quality Report is available online at www.raleighwater.com. You can go to the water quality reports and read them there. Second, there will be a Board of Health and Water Department will attend informational meeting on April 19th in the meeting room upstairs at Town Hall on the cross-connection control bylaw regulation. We'll be discussing that tonight, and I encourage everyone to attend and be educated on that. The Raleigh Water Department will be flushing fire hydrants as part of our program to improve water quality. Flushing will begin on Tuesday, April 19th and continue until completion. Flushing takes place 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. To minimize delays, flushing will also take place in high traffic areas at night along Route 1 and 133 from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. Customers may experience some discoloration in the water. Although measures have been taken to minimize the interruption, plan accordingly, and we apologize for any inconvenience. So at 6:05, we'll call Citizens Query to order, and it's open. Any questions from anybody in the audience?
Question too. Has anybody from the selectmen been in contact about their disagreement, should I put it, with the fees for the hydrant?
Yes.
So with what implications or ramifications?
Mary Beth?
I would just like to respectfully remind the board that during Citizens Query, and we will be talking about that later in the program.
Yeah. Yes, and Mary Beth had asked her to also remind me that during Citizens Query, we're not supposed to engage in a give and take, not to be stonewalling, but yes, we've been contacted, yes, we've had discussions. What else can I say? And to what Mary Beth said, we'll be talking about that a little bit further down. So, any other questions, concerns, issues? Going. Okay, we'll close Citizens Query. And off the meeting, what is that next to you? Is that looks like a blind person's cane?
It's a hydrant.
Well, it's a hydrant flag.
Yeah, oh, okay. Well, I can't see the other flag.
Giants.
Very well. At night, when you drive around, they'll show up really well.
Keep people from hitting the fire flags?
No, so we can see them if we need them.
Okay. Okay. So for anybody those are the new markers. All right. So we'll go, first one is old business number 1. Discuss exterior lighting of 401 Central Street.
So that has been completed. We, if you remember a while back, the parking lot and the building was pitch black. For a quick fix, I turned to the Raleigh Municipal Light Department and they came out and installed those street lights, which were wonderful, and it did exactly what we needed, which was to provide lighting for the parking lot, for the nighttime meetings, and also some added security for the building. We had a few complaints about the lights in the direction they were shining, and I just asked our neighbor if they would just be patient while I got some pricing. So we got the pricing, the board approved the installation, so we now have the new lights, and they are on a daylight savings.
A light sensor.
A light sensor.
I noticed that last night.
Yes.
I saw it.
So we have 4 lights along this side of the building, and they are on a swivel, so if the lights are still bothering and shining in people's windows, we can, to a certain degree, we can angle them down so that they're not shining straight ahead. So I haven't heard anything.
And do they go off at a certain time?
Yes, dawn to dusk.
Yeah.
Dawn to dusk.
They're on all night
They should
long.
put a light sensor on them. That's my suggestion, because they were staying on all day.
Oh, were they? Oh.
So
Well, that was part of the project, was to put that on, and they had tied it to the light switch, and then Mr. Emery was driving by over the weekend and saw that the lights were on all day long and all night. The problem was that they were on a light switch, and somebody, we weren't remembering to turn them on and off, so I said, we left them on, it was for a short period of time. They came in, put the daylight saving sensor on there, so now they're on all night long. When the sun comes up, they turn off.
Can we put motion activation on them, so the point being more from a dark sky standpoint, that, and from security, so if someone came in with a truck to steal the pipes that's sitting out there, the lights will all go on? But when no one's here, I mean, do we have to have one for security all night long, or?
Well, we'd have to go and get a price for that. That was not something that we originally, and I don't know where we already installed this system, what that would mean if we.
They're all in the same circuit, John, so
Yeah.
if you put a motion sensor out front, it won't work on the side, or even on the other side. So I think it would be having to split them up and put them on different circuits and stuff.
Yeah, it's not that hard to do. And given the tight fiscal things right now, you're not gonna do that. But I think for next year, we start doing next year's budget. I want to look into that again, more for well, energy savings, security, and also for dark skies. I know this one of the residents in town, I can't remember the guy's name, has always talked about that with regards to the lighting in here, and have even know the light pollution. Don't want to add to it, but let's just make a note. Put that on the big laundry list. That next year, motion activation. I don't know, guys, okay with that, or it's not that much to put motion sensors. Yeah.
The only thing I would be concerned about is the front of the building. That's where our lockbox is. So when
Maybe-
customers drive up, if you don't, you know how they work. I mean, I have my security light. Sometimes I have to wave my hands before it comes on, in my backyard. So normally, before we fix the lights on the building, the front, there are two lights that are on either side of the door, and the light shines downward. Those stayed on because all night long because the customers would come in.
I can see that, absolutely. Leave the front door lights on so I can get to the lockbox, but these other compound lights, I really just don't want to see them burning all night when, from a security standpoint, emotional, be enough to deter, I would hope.
I don't know, if it was me, I would be more aggravated if I saw a light out of the corner of my eye coming on and coming off and coming on, coming off, rather than something steady. But that's just my own
Yeah.
thing.
All right, so, well, let's look into it.
next
Yeah,
year.
yeah,
Okay.
Doesn't
absolutely.
hurt to look into it.
Yeah. So, all right, so is that, anything else on that?
Nope.
Okey-doke. Discuss OML 2016, 18, 19, 20, and 21, response to the AG's office. So, we've got all of these that we've gone through, I believe, in the past, and read them into the record. We need to respond to the AG's office
Which I,
response. Do you wanna look at
So
that?
what I did was, later on in the agenda, I don't know if you want to also skip ahead and do the new business, this one, together.
Yeah, sure.
So I prepared this response,
Mhm.
which encompasses all of them.
Yeah.
It describes everything, the research we did and what we had for the missing attachments.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay,
response.
we'll get this back to Kevin.
Yes, there's a
Alright.
place for all three commissioners to
All right,
sign.
I'll read this into the record then.
Yeah, and
that's
if
the
you're
case.
happy with that, what that says, then you
Yeah.
can sign it. If not, I can provide, do another draft.
So, and I believe do I need to read all three of these or just the one we're signing?
just a letter. Those are the attachments as the
Okay.
backup to show that we had
Yes.
provided the,
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you guys want to look at this while I'm reading this. So, I'll read this into the record. We've gone through all these, but this is dated March 23rd to Kevin Manganaro, the Attorney General's office, regarding OML complaints 2016, 18, 19, 20, 21, 28, 29, and 30. Dear Mr. Manganaro, the Town of Raleigh Board of Water Commissioners has distributed the August 25th, 2015 executive session minutes as required in the determinations for the above OML complaints. It's been decided that since there is pending litigation, the board will not release the September 11th executive session minutes at this time. In addition, the Board of Water Commissioners will be able to acquire the following missing information from previous meetings. 1, October 16th, 2015. Documents required, Mr. Toomey's response to the OML violation received from Mr. Toomey. September 29th, 2015 meeting, documents that needed to be attached. Chairman Toomey's document read under old business, item number 1. Administrative staff reviewed the meeting video to recreate it. Mr. Michella's disengagement letter did not receive, it was not read into the attachment. Chairman Toomey's prepared letter mentioned under new business item number 2. Chairman Toomey's document read under new business item number 4. And Karen Summit's Act of 1946, Chapter 11 read document received via Karen Summit. Number 3, September 18th, documents that were needed to be attached. Sign-in sheet, no sign-in sheet was created. MGL Chapter 41, Paragraph 69B, Water Commissioner's Power and Duties, received via Mr. Toomey. Jamie Snow's document, read for the record, received via Jamie Snow. Karen Summit's document, read for the record, received via Karen Summit. September 4th, 2011. September 11th, 2015. Executive session minutes received via the AG's office. The Board of Water Commissioners granted Mr. Toomey an extension via email on February 26th to deliver the above. The above documents were due to the Water Department office by Thursday, March 3rd at noon. Mr. Toomey failed to comply with the Board of Water Commissioners' request. Prior to this, Chairman Manning made attempts from November 10th, 2015 to January 26th to acquire the above missing documents by placing them on the agenda each time the board met. Given the circumstances that Mr. Toomey is no longer a water commissioner and is seemingly uncooperative in producing these missing documents, we ask that the Attorney General's office accept this letter as sufficient response to the above open meeting law complaints. Respectfully, myself, Mark Emery, and Stu Dalzell. I'm going to make one change into this. Find my pen. There we are. Has not. And I'm going to say is no longer a water commissioner and has not produced the missing documents. Produce the missing documents, and that's the missing documents. We ask that the AG's office accept this letter. So the last paragraph will read, given the circumstances that Mr. Toomey is no longer a water commissioner, he has not produced the missing documents, we ask that the Attorney General's office accept this letter as sufficient response to the above open meeting law complaints. Can we send it with the amendment like this?
If you want, if not, I can make the changes and leave it in the window.
No, I think that I'm fine with this.
Okay.
Myself. Gentlemen, you guys okay with that? Mark, any questions on
No.
the amendment? Just making it a little less pointed. And under the new business, what did we need to do with those, Mary Beth? Number 3, discuss the OML violations.
Yes, that's, you just covered old business number 2 and new business number 3. That letter covers all of those.
Okay. Thank you for putting that together for us.
You're welcome.
That is appreciated.
In all due respect, where I'm part of this in litigation, I may have to abstain from signing that.
Okay. And I respect that. Do I say abstain or just?
I'm not quite sure.
I'm just gonna make a note, abstained. Okay.
In doubt, I ought not to sign it.
You know what? Absolutely. And understand it's probably in your own best interest. I agree. That's a good catch. So we'll get that. And at this point, and I did talk to Kevin Manganaro from the Attorney General's office probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago now, and described that some of the situations, Tim's moved on and so on and so forth. And he said, at this case, he's now a private citizen. there's no recourse, and get what you can, and then we'll make a statement like we did, we have this, we did that. We'll give them the response, and it takes, it relieves the board's actions, I guess, currently, for anybody that's following along. Any other activities on that one, Mary Beth, are we good?
I think we're finally done on that.
Oh, I don't want to ever see one of those again. So, right. 2, 3. In order, old business number 3, shut off of non-payment policy, discuss and vote on the revised policy. And this was the shut off for non-payment. What is the change that we were doing here? So this, calendar, that's one. Get that fixed. Katie, she stepped out to get a document? Okay. Wait for a minute.
I apologize, I was trying to find the other policy, the original policy.
Oh, okay. Do you know what the changes?
It's just about
Offhand, or-
the way we go about notifying, it's a little more detailed. It just, when customers call up, we need to be able to tell them something. And the other process was we had written, which was in draft form, was a little confusing. So we took a look at the policy and drafted this. If the board wants to take a look at it, we can, I can look up I'll have the original policy.
I mean, it's pretty clear. Is this on the website too?
Not
Well,
yet.
After we approve it, we'll go on the website?
Yes, when all the policies get approved, they will all be going up on the website.
So the process of notification, if the customer's not received a notice in the last 12 months, they'll receive first receive a delinquent notice giving them 14 days to pay the past due balance and informing them of the pending date of the disconnection of service. 28 days from the notice date, if payment is not received or arrangements have not been made, payment arrangements have not been made within a 14-day period, the customer will then receive a disconnect notice reiterating the pending disconnection date, 14 days from the notice date. If the customer has received a notice in the last 12 months, they will only receive a disconnect notice giving them 14 days prior to disconnection. If the customer is a landlord and has tenants living at the service location which is scheduled for the disconnection, then a tenant notice is also processed 14 days after the landlord received his disconnect notice. I mean, this is all pretty straightforward. The date, if you look at the bottom on the control panel, is needs to be changed to the 29th.
Oh. That's no such date.
Yeah, so that's
Okay.
just the other correction. I don't know, do you guys, you
I'm
okay
happy
with
with
it? Stu, you like this?
No, I went through,
You have that?
fixed it.
It's pretty straightforward, I think.
Yeah, and we can change it if we find that it's onerous or not working for people. But I think it's a pretty straightforward approach.
Make a motion to approve it.
Mark made a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, approved. So, item number 4, vote to amend the water use restriction, and it says bylaw. So then we need to, is this one we want to do the cross, no. With respect to a bylaw, is this one that we can similarly consider as a regulation, Mary Beth?
No, currently, there is an existing bylaw you have in your
Okay.
packet.
It was adopted at town meeting, special town meeting, November 18, 2002.
Okay.
And
That's no problem, can you-
what you have is the current bylaw, and then you have the, what's going to be inserted into the warrant for the amendment.
And this is that's gonna be, this is the amendment?
Yes, this is actually the actual, this is the actual insert for the warrant right here.
Oh, okay. Just wanna check whether the special actions are. This is housekeeping at this point.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
taking up problem language
Oh, yeah.
and inserting the correct.
Stu, would you concur? Okay.
Agree.
All right. So do we need to approve this, Mary Beth, or what do we need to do?
Yes, please.
So, we need to make a motion to accept the bylaw change.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No? Okay. Good. Vote to approve the cross-connection control bylaw. And this is the one, I believe, that Judy Pickett's law, yeah. So we probably want to have some discussion on this one, Mary Beth, right? This is the one
Yes.
that we got the special session set up on the 19th? Yeah.
Yes, so I asked for a legal opinion on the bylaw that I had drafted up, and what you have in there is the bylaw and then Judy Pickett's legal opinion. I have gone in and made all of the changes in the document that she suggested. But the question before the board is, currently, there isn't any bylaw. This is a Massachusetts DEP regulation, CMR 2222. And we're already doing the program, we're already out there in the community, looking for cross connections, eliminating them where we can, and then advising the customers to install the proper devices if they're unable to eliminate them. So the question before the board tonight is, do you want to incorporate this in the warrant as a bylaw, or do you want to just incorporate this into our standard policies and procedures for the department? Which would mean, just like with the water use restriction bylaw, if we had any, as we go through the program, if we find any changes we need to make to update it, we would always have to go back to town meeting to get their approval to make the changes. So it would be up to the board which route you would like to go.
Yeah, I had discussions with Charlie Costello from the Board of Health, with Deb Egan, and she'd been talking to Judy Pickett as well. And one of the advantages of making it a regulation from us is that we can then fix this if we get an issue. We can bring it up, Mary Beth will tell us, you know what, this is a problem for us, we need to tweak the language to this way. Whereas if it's a bylaw, we gotta wait for a year to address it. And our hands would be tied if someone's suffering. It would make it more difficult to be reactive if required. And again, Mary Beth referred to CMR 2222, which is the program you're following anyway, we are following. So my thoughts are, I would prefer to just, any place where it says control program bylaw, to make it control program regulation.
Mr.
substitute.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we vote to make that a regulation.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Vote passed. Mary Beth, does that work with your?
Absolutely.
Okey-doke. Good. And Mary Beth, nice job on this. This was a lot of work.
Thank
It
you.
was a lot of research.
Thank you.
I know I've had to do a bunch of work on this too, but you did, 99.5% of it all.
Thank you.
I had to make a few phone calls, but, and I think this will really help, I don't want to say put teeth in it, but address, what I see as a public health problem, with cross connects. Those aren't familiar with it, we've been talking about it for a while. It's if you have, your own well in town water, and you can't cross the streams. It's as simple as that, and now we have something that we can tell people, you can't do that, and the reason being, if that water contaminates the town, that's the situation where you get Channel 7 with a mic in your face. When did you know it, and why did you know it? We're not gonna be in that position, so, not like Flint.
So with that, the informational meeting that's going to be held, or tentatively, we should say
April
tentatively,
19th.
in April 19th. We have some time, if the board decides to still meet next week, but I'll be in touch with the Board of Health to update them with your decision tonight, and have some more information about how we're gonna move forward with whether we're gonna have this at meeting or not.
I think we should. I already talked to Charlie about that.
Okay, good.
And said, and he was in concurrence that, for this open session, because a bylaw, it's town meeting, we may get, 70 or 80 people, or quorums, 90 or 100? 100. And we talked to those folks, but if we're not doing it in that area, I still want to have a hearing and give people the opportunity to have some input on this, that we voted and passed it, but since it's a regulation and we get 200 people showing up saying that, this is a problem, we can at least then hear them and consider change versus it's done and we'll talk to you next year. I have a better feeling doing it the way we're approaching. Mark, you agree? Okay, so yeah, April 19th, we've got that, Charlie has put that, Town Hall, he's got an expert from the DEP in this space to come and talk, and he's got a presentation, and so educationally, and I'd welcome anybody that's listening, watching, that to come and listen about what this is, and it's a very topical issue, timely. Okay. All right, discuss and vote on item number 6, discuss and vote on the revised 2016 rules and regulations. And this was tabled back in February.
I did not include the entire, because it's a lot of pages, I just put the table of contents. But I do have the completed manual over here.
Okay. And why did we table it back in February? I don't have my files with me.
Might have wanted more time to take a look at it. I believe actually, was it the board vote Mr. Emery to work with me on looking at this as well as...
That was actually the
Pardon me?
extension,
Okay,
and I gave you the copy where I made the corrections.
yes.
I don't have that.
Actually, it says approved. It says table 2-9, and then down here it says revised. January.
Oh,
You know what it was, is I found conflicts, that's what it was.
yes.
Yeah.
I found conflicts between this, and
Yeah.
the conflicts were actually in this, not this.
Okay.
This was correct.
Okay. So this says we had approved it on February 9th.
That's, I apologize, that, I just made a photocopy of what I had, the cover. That was the day we, that if you had voted, it would have, so that will need to change.
Ah,
Sorry.
So the corrections that you guys worked on the corrections?
I don't believe I found any I didn't give you any problems with this one, right?
Just some typos and some small
Yeah.
things.
Okay.
This one the copy right here still has all, it's in conflict with this.
Still?
The copy I have sitting in front of me does, yes.
So I just don't want to pass it until it's been cleaned, scrubbed.
Which one is that, Mark?
The water main extension policy,
Is that the one?
that's the one I gave you with all the highlighted things?
Is that the one, does your copy say work with Mark tabled?
Yes.
Okay.
It's where it says 3/4 inch services and we only use inch.
Yep.
And the Buffalo boxes as opposed to
And I
Erie
made those
boxes.
changes, I did.
Because this copy still has that.
Section 3, okay.
We stopped using 3/4 inch services probably 20-something years ago because they, let's say if you go away for the winter stuff, they have a tendency to crust over.
Really? Wow.
But
I
if
did
you-
make those changes, Mr. Emery. This must have been, you know what it is, see how this, I wrote on this must have been the copy that was in your packet,
Mhm.
and I just made a photocopy of it, but I did make those changes to the document. Matter of fact, that day you came in, it was a Saturday, wasn't it the Saturday?
I don't know, it could have been.
Well, can we just, there's no rush on this, can we just get a clean copy? And so we
For
can
next
review
meeting?
it? Yeah, it's for the next meeting? Let's just get it,
Okay.
I just wanna make sure we're doing it right.
Yeah.
I hate to use that much paper, I'll be honest, however,
Do you want me to,
cost of government.
Or a sheet, have you got one copy that we could just look at? Like the,
let me see,
Can you email it?
it's probably it's right here.
Not right now, but yeah, can you just email it? You don't have to,
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
sure, of course I
and
can.
then for the next meeting, you just say, refer to your email of the date, and then, Sue, you okay getting an email of this?
I'm fine.
Okay.
listen, most of it's just the different type of curb box and the size of the services was the biggest issues that I found.
Yeah, I remember.
Because this one had the right, this one was, I assume, cut and paste from somewhere else. And just didn't get caught.
New business number 6, rules and regulations.
That's this one.
That's correct. I would like to make a change on the charges. We voted not to charge somebody if they had a water break during normal business hours. And I would like to revise that. For example, somebody had a water break at 8 o'clock at night. I hate to see him kick it with it, he'd be charged, because they could say, well, I'll let it go till the morning and not have the charge. And you'd lose more than the $100 and some odd in water. It was a bad break on that lawn at night.
Okay. Is that fee schedule in this one? I don't think it's attached.
The fee schedule is not, it's not on there.
Okay, but we discussed, that was, we had, was that a new business? We had talked about that, the meeting before, Stu, to go back and look at those fees.
Fine.
Do you recall that? Is that on this agenda, or did we, did it pop off with the length? So I apologize, guys, because I was working with Mary Beth to try and keep this from being War and Peace tonight, just as quite a bit. And I will say, just for the record too, that Deb asked me to hold off having a meeting because she knew all three of us weren't going to be together to look at the Penachuk response. So I just put it off until we could all three look at it. That's all that drove that. But that's one of the reasons this thing's.
It will be on the next week's meeting agenda. It's proposed for next week.
Okay, are we meeting next Tuesday, April 5th?
It's on your this is in
Because
place
we
of last week,
yeah.
so.
April 5th, okay. Yeah, okay, there we go.
Mine's April 22nd. April 5th?
Yeah, it's here. The 22nd would have been Friday. The 22nd is here. See, you're looking at March is the 22nd.
No, April 22nd. right there.
Oh. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the meeting minutes, the agenda, Mary Beth, says April 22,
Yes, that's a mistake, I apologize.
which is a Friday. No offense, not meeting you on a Friday.
No offense taken.
Unless we're doing it in a bar.
You're
So we're looking-
alone if you wanna come in on Friday.
So we're looking at April 5 and April 26th, I think.
What's the second one?
I think April 5th, 2 weeks later would be the 19th, actually.
Next meeting at Town Hall.
Yeah. So maybe we'll meet early and do some of our business. So I'll talk to Mary Beth if
We
we
can
can
actually meet at
squeeze-
town hall if we had to.
Yeah, it was just to have an hour session beforehand. So I think the public hearing is at, what's the time? 7. No, it's, nope. He doesn't have a time set there, but we'll try to arrange ours around that.
I think so, yes.
Okay. So let's go back to the,
I just want to point out that April 5th, there's also a joint meeting at Pine Grove School for the Pine Grove renovation and also the police and fire public service building that they're going to be meeting on that date. I think it's 7 o'clock. For your
Okay.
information.
No.
You can still hold your meeting.
But I think it's important to keep
You
to our
might-
schedule.
yeah. So, I mean, what we can do though is try to keep our schedule to an hour so people can get down to that if they want to attend. I know, I'd like
But I
that.
just didn't know if you wanted to attend or
Yeah.
other people.
Yeah, I was chairman of that committee twice over the last few decades. When
Maybe
they,
the third time's the charm.
I've done all my public service in that sector.
Yes, yes.
So, I'll be interested to see what they're proposing this time. But no, thanks Larry. I would like to get to that. All right, so Mary Beth, we're gonna put that off and get the schedule, the fee schedule in there too for discussion. Old business number 7, water main extension policy update from Commissioner Emery.
That's what we just talked about. That's what
Oh, okay. All right, so that's something we're putting off to fix, correct. New business number 1, letter to customers that have a private well and town water. Oops. How many do we have here?
What you have there is a draft, the example of the draft letter that is being sent out to, it's part of the cross-connection control residential section of the program. Those folks that have a private well and town water will be receiving this letter. It's notifying them of, you know, that basically it's a cross-connection and it cannot be. And it's giving them instructions on what it is they need to do.
How to remedy the situation?
Yes.
How many do you have, any idea?
Well, we're gonna be going out again in May to conduct the surveys.
Okay.
The board signed a purchase order to move forward with that, to have the surveys done, to make sure that, you know, everything's okay. I do not have a number. When the records got transferred from the water department to customer service in Pennachuck, the records were only as good as how they were coded. So if they went over to Pennachuck as coded as having a private well, we have that information. But there are some out there that we don't, if it's not coded, we don't know that. And we will be finding that out and updating our records.
Yeah, I know we talked to the Board of Health about that survey.
Yes.
We'll be getting some of that data. Okay. We don't need to take any action on this, do we?
No, just wanted to
FYI.
make you aware of that, yes.
Okay, good. Update of the RFP for customer service and billing with Pennachuck. I know that the first,
Just to back up a minute if I may.
yep,
backflow prevention devices shall be installed where an internal cross connection exists unless such cross connections are abated to the satisfaction of the department. To me, that somebody can have one if they have a backflow prevention. And the way I see it, you either have your well or your town water in your house, not both. And with this, it sounds like you could have both.
Some people have a well just for irrigation.
I have a well, so just for outside you.
Right, so even though it's just for outside use, you would be required to have a backflow preventer on that well. That's,
I mean, mine doesn't even come in the house.
So if you have a standalone well,
the survey,
And a well with a pump in my garage, just for outdoor use, it doesn't come near my house.
so
until we get in and do a survey, I will not be able to tell the board, each situation is going to be different. And until we trace the plumbing and do the inspection to determine whether there is a cross connection or not, I won't have that information until after we get in and do the surveys.
okay, but to Stu's point, it is saying that premises with an auxiliary water supply or an approved backflow prevention device are installed and maintained by the customer to the satisfaction of the department. And B, okay, the department will not spend the following conditions. Or B, the premises with it, when a pro backflow are installed and maintained by the customer to the satisfaction of the department, or where improved air gap separation has been provided. Ignorance, what's an air gap separation? What Stu's saying, it's not near?
It's just what it is, it's a separation, there's
1
air,
inch.
there's air between,
So if you've got the well out in the yard, everything in the garage, and then your service coming in on the other side of the house, is that good enough?
yes.
Oh, so you're in compliance.
Exactly. My well does not come near my house.
Okay, so, okay, then that, approved air gap. If I'm confused reading that, should we make that language a little more, or is that, I'll ask the three people that are sitting here that are listening, does that make sense, an air gap? Do you know what that meant?
I wouldn't know what it means.
How else would we phrase it?
That's, I don't know.
Or an improved air gap that we provided, i.e. it's
Physically
not.
not connected, not interconnected.
In other words, they can have one or the other in the house, not both.
Yeah. You know what?
They're both in the house, but they can't be connected, it has to be. a
It's
gap
there.
Between them.
That's the right language, it just means I didn't understand. But you're gonna get a question when you do the surveys.
Oh, well, the customers have already received this letter, so they are calling. Not with asking what an air gap is, but they're calling.
How many, a couple of dozen, or?
I think you have the list, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Seven.
5. 7 of them have gone out so far, those are confirmed,
Mhm.
ones we have confirmed. We can't just send a letter out if we don't have, 100% confirmation, so these are confirmed.
May I ask a question, and this might be an unnecessary, naive question, but where this is going to become part of a property owner's responsibility, what is the responsibility if that property owner sells their house? Is there something that would have to, a realtor, an attorney would have to acknowledge that, yes, I am buying this and I have to follow the rules?
Yes, if a property is sold in Rowley, the new homeowner would be responsible for this as well.
Okay. And is that part of something that they would have to know up front? That's why I said it's not.
You would probably, not being a real estate lawyer, but that would be something you put in the disclosure.
Yeah.
Like a right of way or some other weird thing you've got.
Okay.
And then if it surfaces later and there's an issue, you'd go back, as a non-disclosed item.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
yep, no, it's a good question. You're not leaving town, are you?
I don't have a well either.
I'm just kidding.
Mine's a couple of 100 years old
Well, really?
on the property. There used to
That's
be
it,
a
I remember the well there before Stewie's house. When I was a kid.
And the kids and I, somebody filled in, the kids and I dug it out, I'd get down there and pull the bucket.
Oh my
Turn it up. and it used to be a windmill to run it. And what saved me, you know, the pipe, upright pipe, and it gets horizontal, about 4 feet below ground or 5 feet, so it doesn't freeze. And somebody put the old windmill blades in there. So after I get down to that pipe, about 4 feet, it was all hollow, down for about another 12 feet,
Ah, jeez,
about 20 feet deep.
that's wild. Huh. Lost track where I am here. Update RFP customer
I
service.
believe we're, request for proposals, customer
The
service billing.
RFP, number 2, update of RFP for customer service and billing. The RFP came in, there was some questions regarding the additional services that we wanted. I know the committee that's, the procurement committee that's working on it, which Mary Beth, I believe you're on it. Discussed it, Deb called me. It's, I understand it, maybe not 100% with it, however, it's being negotiated, they're putting it back out for an RFP, which we will see when they get it. My biggest concern was that we wouldn't have enough time, and the Pennachuck extension goes to the end of April. So, we'll be able to do something about that when we get it.
And if for another time, it seems to me, we can negotiate another 3 months on that.
I'm sure we can, but I don't want to risk that one. But yeah, no, yeah, so. Mary Beth, anything you want to add on that, or?
No, I put in your packet the letter from the town administrator with the explanation of how the pricing came in, with a copy of the section of the RFP that showed what the cost proposals were for the 3-year contract.
And,
Good night, John.
oh, can I, thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
And it is out there, so when I was asked to revise the RFP to take out some of the services that we thought may have been driving up the price, so I did that, and we'll see where it comes in.
And Deb had told me that they're gonna do a different, like a secondary contract for some of those services. They'll put those out for bid
Yes,
kind
like-
of separately, so it's not a matter of, they just didn't want to bundle it into this contract.
It was like, well, if it was a bid, it would be like a bid alternate kind of thing, or additional. It was for the monthly inserts for the educational program that we're required to run. So just so the board is aware, for a year and a half, Pennachuck was not charging us for, thousands and thousands of pieces of paper being printed and, being the insert. They realized that at a certain point, but then decided, well, we're not going to go back and charge you all of that. But just so the board is aware, in January, we received a bill. It was only $100 and something for the inserts, for the bill inserts.
Okay.
But that's a heck of a lot cheaper than me having to do a separate mailing.
Yeah.
Agreed, so,
It's a lot of work putting those in the envelopes,
Yes.
and I can vouch for, back when I worked here, we had to do it,
yeah.
and it was, pulled everybody in from the street, plus the office help.
Yeah, no, I remember the course of years with the fire department, specifically done some mailings for things. Right?
So what are we talking about in terms of the actual costs?
I think it was a grand total of about $80,000 more.
First year of the contract, $76,000. Second year, $79,000. And the third year, $81,000.
And that's as against 66 currently, is that correct?
$58,000.
58? And what is it that we're getting in addition for the additional $20,000?
There was some services and then the mailing and some additional consulting time, I think is the best way to describe it.
Management support.
So. Anyways, we'll see how it comes back. Number 4 and 5. Number 4, moving on to new business. Discuss any items needed for the May 16th special town meeting
We didn't
warrant.
do 3.
No, we combined that with, oh, wait a minute.
Yes, you combine new business number 3 with
Right.
old business number 2.
Yeah,
Okay,
yep,
so this is all taken care of.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. That one. Anything needed for the special town meeting warrant? Is there going to be a special town meeting in addition to the regular town meeting?
yes.
Okay. Do we have anything we need to go over on that, or?
Well, the
Everything's-
board has already voted, we
I
turned
know.
everything
Yeah.
in that needed to be turned in, so I just wanted to make sure, one last chance, if there was anything, yeah.
Oh, good. Mark?
I have nothing.
Yeah, no, everything we went through, thank you for checking again, but I think we're ready to go.
Okay, good.
So I hope. 6, vote to have the water department donate a book related to drinking water to the library. Mary Beth and Pam will work together during National Drinking Water Week, May 1st to the 7th. So, what's the cost of the book?
Well, you could put a cap on it, but trying to come up with something to do like we did last year for National Drinking Water Week, and I thought it would be a good idea to donate a book to the library from the water department. I'll be working with Pam to set up displays at the library, and then Pam is going to go through. It was funny. I said, "Will you look through your card catalog? You know, like the old days." She knew what I was talking about. To see if she was going to pull books that were related to drinking water and water conservation, and we were going to set them up throughout the library with those books, and that's what we'll be doing for Drinking Water Week.
So do we want to vote to authorize you up to whatever number to do that donation?
I really don't know what books cost, and
neither do I.
We can still, if you do the research, we've got a meeting coming up in April. We can do it next week.
well, yes, we could do it next week. So I'll look for a price, but I was hoping, and I have no idea, if I can walk into a bookstore and buy one, or if I have to order it. But and probably should look to Pam, because she must order books for the library. So maybe she has a vendor that we could, utilize and I'll come back to the board with hopefully a book. I just ran out of time to do it.
I'd like to make a motion that we allow Mary Beth to buy a book for the library.
Use her best judgment. How's that
They're
sound?
not that,
Do you
they're
want to?
expensive, but they're not that much money.
Do you want to put a limit onto it, like $50?
I wouldn't even know where, because I haven't bought a book in so long, I couldn't even tell you what they cost.
Well,
So, just use your best judgment.
generally the audience doesn't get to participate, but since only just you, Bernie, yeah, what?
I mean, I wouldn't limit it to a book. There's some kind of media or a DVD that covers the same topic.
Well, since he's doing it with the library, it tends to gravitate towards a book.
Well, they have the DVDs. I guess the issue is, what would somebody look at or take out or review? And these days, alas, fewer books and more DVDs.
Well, as a library trustee, I can tell you that our circulation numbers are consistently trending in a very positive direction for withdrawal of physical media and also electronic media. So,
Well, I'm a great contributor to those statistics. So.
yeah, no, I know what you're saying, but I think what we're really looking for is a book to put out there and say, donated by the Raleigh Water Department. So, I'll entertain that. So,
I'll second Stewie's motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No? So,
I'll shoot you an email when I get a book, and I won't. I know when we go through, when we purchase our stuff for the training stuff, it's might be. I'm thinking maybe around 100 is what I'm thinking.
okay.
Thinking about 100.
Okay, yeah, and it's like, I don't know, was it Mark said he's not sure about the price of books, and I know my kids' textbooks are obscene, so,
Thank you
All
very
right.
much. Thank you.
good, do that. Flushing schedule, I read that in the beginning as an announcement? Or
Yes,
is there more to talk about?
Yep, I just put that in there so you would have the schedule.
Thank you. And 796 Haverhill Street, ongoing leaking service. Is this the one where, between the curb and the house? they've got an issue?
Yes. So, we received a call for, low water pressure. We'd gone out there a couple of times. We dug the stop, we replaced the stop, and it was determined that there is a leak on the customer side. The water meter is in the house, so the water it's a leak and it's just going in the ground. Customer is aware of this, so this has been ongoing for quite a while. And it's about 5,000 gallons a day that's leaking from the service that we calculated. And we started calculating that as of last week. On Friday, it was 277,000 gallons of water wasted from that one service. So I would like to send the resident a letter notifying him that he needs to fix that leak or we'll be shutting his service off.
I agree, so many days.
There's no reason not to get it fixed now, there's no frost in the ground.
That's exactly what I meant a little earlier when I said we shouldn't be charging a fee if somebody like that had a water leak in the middle of the night. Say they got $150 to come out at night for their overtime, whatever it is. They could use more than that in water. That's the point I was getting at. These people, this has been going on for some time, Mary Beth?
We kind of think about 6 months. The customer had stated that they had noticed that there was a drop in pressure and it just kept getting worse. They've got about 20 PSI,
Whoa.
And you know that's really low.
Oh, yeah. That's
20 to 30 PSI.
When you want to give them 10 days to get it fixed?
I was going to say 30. By the time we get, the
Yeah,
letter,
'cause you
30 days.
You know what it's like to get a contractor.
I agree with you, but
Mhm.
given that they've got to get somebody and get it scheduled and et cetera, so want to do 30 days?
That's a lot of water, 5,000 gallons a day.
Yeah, 5 times 3, that's what?
I mean-
50
You want to give 2 weeks?
150.
2 weeks?
It's costing us money to make it.
Yeah,
That's right. 2 weeks?
yeah, that's, 2 weeks.
What do you think, Mark?
At least have a plan in place in 2 weeks, if not have it fixed.
Yeah. So, yeah, just ask them to have that done in 2 weeks, or we'll proceed with turning off their water surface, because it's, that's thousands. So would you say 277?
Right, so this is one of the types of leaks that we have in the system that, unless, the customer called, they had low pressure, but it's still leaking. We're aware of it now, but there's services out there, we're talking about, the unaccounted for. If it's a long service and
Yep.
it doesn't have a meter pit and it's leaking between the curb stop and the house, we have no way of knowing
That's about
what's happening.
$5,500 worth of water. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of revenue just going on the ground.
Well, it's just, as we said earlier, just the cost of producing it, the motors running and so forth, the treatment plant.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Money
okay.
you don't recover.
No.
So what's, if it's, can the water department take steps to address that leak? I mean, obviously it's from between the curb stop and the house. Is there any provision for?
That is
Private
the
property.
homeowner's responsibility.
Private property, the only, the
Right.
recourse we have is,
Shut the curb stop off.
Right, but we have the water department has the technical know-how to fix that leak.
Yeah, but it's not our responsibility
Well,
to
I
fix it.
understand it's not our responsibility, but if, so the homeowner's recourse is to go
And
and
hire a
find-
contractor.
Find a contractor.
exactly.
Which will own that problem, which will own the fix. Whereas if we would, we don't have those type of resources, but to do that, then we would be, liable to any issues. We'd have to guarantee that work, and we're just not set up for that type of, indemnity.
So, and how available are those services for the homeowner to get that fixed within
I don't know.
Enough contractors around, call somebody, and it's,
There's contractors that specialize in that. Actually, we hire one to do some of our work.
as
So-
John said, at least have a plan in place, be lined up with a contractor in the 14 days.
So could it be the same way as the town does the septic system and have, we provide the homeowner with a list of contractors and say, because you want to shorten the cycle time as much as possible. If I had that problem, it would take me a while to kind of figure out who's doing it. When we had put a new septic system in, I had essentially a list of vendors.
That's because you have to be licensed in the town that you do it for septic systems.
Whereas
So you can get it from the Board of Health.
There's a GC that would dig up a pipe, put the pipe in.
Whoever does this one, need a darn good pump there, boots on it. Water's been running that many months.
Hopefully it's sandy soil.
All right, so we're gonna move on from this one. So Mary Beth, you'll inform them of that?
Yes.
Within 2 weeks? General business, water and superintendent's operations report.
I think we already did a copy of this,
14
right?
days that, place.
Just have a plan to.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, plan to remediate.
Okay, so we had an inspection from the Department of Labor and Standards. I mentioned that to the board, and in your packet, you have a copy of the inspection report. And in there are the recommendations that we'll need to comply with. The good news is, if we are awarded it, we can apply for grant money through Maya for the safety equipment. They have $5,000 in grant monies available. So that, we missed this round in this year, and but in July, we will be applying for that grant for the safety trailer. We also have put in the budget the shoring, which we are required to have under the laws, so we'll be getting that. That's in the budget for requested for next fiscal year. So I just wanted to update the board on that. Last meeting, we had some questions about our funding and how we go about things. Question came up about our debt. Is there a way to decrease the debt annually by restructuring what we owe? Is there a way to extend out the 20 years to 40 years, for example, so the payments are lower? This is an email I sent to the treasurer. And she responded and said, simple answer, no. First of all, the SRF loan is the debt of the MWPAT. Our loan is bundled with a bunch of other loans that have been sold to investors as a pool. The reason investors buy those bonds is steady stream of tax-exempt income. Also, Mass General Law governs the amount of time that you can borrow for a particular purpose. Municipal borrowing is not the same as borrowing in the business world. There is no restructuring. Unfortunately, you vote for the debt. So, that's the answer. No, we cannot. Our customer had that, so I answered.
2% would be foolish to even think about it.
Yeah, that's really good. Great. Okay.
In your packet is a memo from the Chief Operator, Rob Swiniarski, regarding an on-site inspection at the treatment plant. Quarterly, we have a company come out, Hawk, to do quarterly maintenance as required by the regulation on the turbidimeters. And during the inspection, there was a problem with the wiring, and just wanted to let the board know that it was due to premature corrosion from the moist environment. So I just thought I would let you know. That just happened during the inspection in April.
Yeah. Ugh.
I submitted to the Conservation Commission on March 8th a letter for certificate of compliance with Enforcement Order 63557 dated February 15, 2011. We have finally completed the conditions set in the enforcement order here due to the filling in of the wetlands. Conservation agent will be meeting with his board tonight and going over that. We don't have to attend. I asked if anybody needed to attend, but it should be straightforward. We do have a couple of more things to do. When we cleaned up all of the poison ivy and the brush, I noticed that there were some trees that were cut down that we'll need to replace. We had already replaced the 6 pine trees out back as part of that enforcement order, and then we noticed, so we'll be purchasing some more trees to go on this side of the building. I did budget for that enforcement order this year, so the money is there to do that. Out back has been completely graded, and the stormwater basin has been done, so we're in good shape. So I will report back to the board when I get the letters of completion. So finally, that will be taken care of. I received another memo from the chief operator, Rob Swiniarski. We had talked about operating costs and those types of things and how expensive it was to run the treatment plant. So we have 2 basin trains that need to be cleaned on an annual basis, and I just wanted the board to be aware that it's $16,500 per basin for a total of $33,000 annual cost for a portion of the waste system at the treatment plant.
When you say basin, do you mean the concrete sump sulfate
No, inside, in the plant.
under the ground? Okay.
Also in your packet, you have a copy of the audit that was done this past January. Annually, we have an audit done by, this was done by Powers and Sullivan. So that's in your packet for you to take a look at. You have to look, it's on the same pages as the light department, so we're a column. One of the things that I've been doing, working with Katie Pelletier, the administrative assistant, we've been going on the webpage and updating and putting information. And with all the recent stuff going on in Flint, Michigan with lead in the drinking water, I thought it would be a good idea if the water department was proactive and put the whole section of information on about the Raleigh water and the lead content. So in your packet, you have a copy of the informational pamphlet that I put together that has like helpful tips. If you do have a lead service, things you can do to lessen the lead in your water. We've posted the lead and copper results on the webpage. We've also posted some websites, the EPA's website and American Water Works website. And the last piece of that is I'm working on to get on the webpage is we have a lot of old water mains in the system that are original that were put together with lead solder. So we are looking at compiling the list because we do need to replace those. There was a no lead law that went into effect and that utilities were supposed to comply with. So during the next several months, we'll be having discussions that will be part of our water main replacement program that we were talking about before. So we'll be putting some stuff together for you over the next several months to present to the board on replacing that.
A good first target.
I would like, in your packet, the board has a copy of the first page of the proposed FY 17 budget. If you notice, line 5, other post-employment benefits, Originally, it was level funded at 15,000. It was brought to my attention by the town administrator that there's going to be a increase in the costs across the board for workers' comp. So I'm going to need the board to re-vote on the budget. I had to increase that line by $3,800. So that line is now, the request is $18,800 for post-other employment benefits.
Make a motion to approve it.
Don't really have a choice, we have to pay it.
Exactly.
In your packet,
Do you want to
have-
second that, Stu, or questions?
if it helps, in your packet, I had asked that town.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No? Passes.
There is an explanation in your packet regarding that from the town administrator. If you-
Something to add for next meeting, and I'm not sure how much we can discuss it, but and I think it's, I don't know if it's for this year or next year or how it's gonna fall, but there's some litigation pending against the town involving the water department. And from an insurance standpoint, and there was an email from Deb on Friday, I think, on this, there's a deductible of $7,500 that would probably be looked at or passed on to the department, so that we would have to pay that out of our enterprise fund.
In this fiscal year or next?
It depends on when the cases settle, that's why I don't know what the
Should we put
disposition
that
is.
in now while you're voting?
Well, that's why I'm bringing it up. We don't know when it's gonna we don't know when
Just in
settlements will
case.
happen, but even if we just put in half at least for this, well, not for right now, but fiscal year change, what, June 30th? Yeah. My thoughts are if we withdraw that article for Dusty money, for 17 grand, and put that aside for insurance contingencies, I don't know if we can do that, or how we would do that.
Okay, so that money has to be used for capital, it has to be used for like things. You can't use
Okay.
that money for
That is-
legal expenses.
It's like the private sector.
Did you
Yeah,
want me to
no,
increase that line?
Well, I think we need to, and the reason being is that the way the town's insurance works is that there would be a piece that would be directed towards us because we're involved, or I don't mean us, but the department to pony up for the deductible after the settlement of this. If it doesn't go the town's way, I guess is the best way to put it.
Are you saying instead of that 18.8, we would make it 26.8, something like that?
Which line are you looking at?
There's a separate line for legal, and it's not under that.
Oh,
It's
okay.
actually in the operating, I'm sorry, it's actually comes under, what is it? Water, line 7, water department expenses and maintenance.
Yeah,
So I could increase that line by 7,500.
I think we should. Does that, hose the rest of the budget, or do we have enough time to put that in there just in case?
So we're meeting next Tuesday, and I'm not sure, but I think it's too late. I think this will already have gone into the warrant. I think it's done. I mean, because they've got to do all the printing and then get it, organize it and get it mailed. And I think the absolute day, I could be wrong, is next Monday, I think.
I heard that they're going to be having a fall town meeting The selectmen's meeting last night, they talked about it. So it could be something that we could put an article into if we have to, if there was a settlement. We could
Okay.
pay it out of that and replace it at the fall town meeting.
Okay, so then let's just leave it, but at least you're aware of it,
Okay,
that we may have some, a contingent liability, I guess is the way to describe it.
okay.
So we'll
So,
know exactly what it is, if it is, and
Yeah,
then we can have it go to them and transfer it out of whatever.
okay, so just leave it as is and
Yeah.
then, okay,
well, you know, we already voted on the other increase.
okay.
Oh, yeah, it's,
So-
What else you got in there, Mary Beth? Ready for hydrants?
I'm sorry?
Ready for hydrants?
Yes. Okay. So there's been a lot of discussion on the increase in the fire hydrant rental fee. And in your packet, what I've done is, well, I have sent several memos with explanations and a breakdown for the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee. And there's been, I also have in your packet the overview spreadsheet of the costs associated with the hydrants. Actually, the total cost per hydrant is $265.24. And we proposed an increase, or to charge the town $182.25. It's a discount of 82, we're giving them a discount of $82.99, or 46% discount on the
Does
actual
this
cost.
take into account the feedback from the Finance Committee?
No,
Paul Jalbert's?
what that was, his feedback was from the original memo that I had sent. So I had, this is what I have for my hydrant breakdown, and so I went through and
And what was it last year, 50 what?
53.4,
53,000?
I think, or
And
something.
then this year we're proposing 70 what? 72?
72.
Yeah, it's gone from 23,775 in '07 to 35,600 to 53,400 to this year's proposed at 7,200.
72,000.
I'm sorry, you're correct.
So I didn't know if the board wanted to, it seems to be causing a lot of heartache for the town to consider this increase. I don't know if the board wanted to entertain level funding for this year, but, you know,
My suggestion would be level fund it for this year. Get a meeting together with one member of the Board of Water Commissioners, one member of the Selectmen, maybe Debbie, Mary Beth, and work out a compromise that everybody's happy.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I left at this right off the fact, but, you know, running the numbers, it's like a 35% whack from last year.
And it's really tough times in the town budget, which they cannot raise taxes to compensate for it because of 2.5 in new growth.
Well, it's also that, and the schools have come back and said that, you know, they're looking for quite a big chunk of money, and my kids have come home and said, oh, my teacher told me they're gonna be laid off next year, so they're getting a lot of pressure. And as, I'd say, good corporate citizens, but as good Rowley citizens, you know, I know we're counting on that revenue, but if we can, Mary Beth, absorb a level fund this year, can we do that without destroying our budget?
I will have to recalculate the budget, because that is factored in. So I will have to redo the budget and subtract that, which I won't know until I run the numbers.
Well, it's like 23,000, 20,
I'll have to cut the budget 23,000.
21,000.
Yeah, I'll have to cut the budget somewhere else. So I'll have to take a look at that. And I'm not sure, this is the thing, I mean, will definitely be in touch with the town administrator tomorrow, but if I have to cut the budget by 21,000, then you'll have to revote it. And I really don't want to rush and just cut it. I'd like to take a look at I have planned and,
Or come back to us with a different, next, if we have enough time, for next Tuesday, come back to us with saying a 10,000 increase, so whatever you can do without destroying the budget, but also trying to give something back during these times. If we could do level funding, great. If we can't, how much can we get by with minimally?
okay.
Is that enough time for you to work the numbers?
Sure.
Okay.
Also in your packet, I don't know who this is from, but this was received, I received this today in an envelope. I was out in a meeting this morning. I'm not sure, but I think this looks like something that, I watched the selectmen's meeting, and this looks like something that Mr. Peterson used during his discussions. I don't know where this came from. There was no note. It's just all about the budget and the discounts and the hydrants. I really don't know where this came from, but it was here. You also have
Is it in the packet?
yes, you also have a email from, forwarded from Debbie Egan from one of the finance committee members on that as well. One of the things I wanted to just talk about too during the hydrant talk was, as you mentioned earlier, John, we have, I don't really know where the camera is, but he's gone.
It's right there.
We have the hydrant flags that we're putting out, and as you see, they have the number. So all of the hydrants will have an identified number and then the flag, and as Mark said, this is a reflector. And it's actually on a bend, so it's easy when they go to operate. It bends out of the way. The other ones, they're solid and you have to bend them, and then when you put them back, they're all crooked and
We
short.
actually take them off.
And when you take them off.
Yeah, because we open the
So
tabs.
what are the types of stuff that we do currently? Typically, the water department always gets the responsibility of taking care of the fire hydrants. But it goes beyond just the physical replacement or greasing of a fitting of a fire hydrant, because it extends more out. And I know that this has never been presented to Rowley before in this aspect, but 45% of your storage in your water tank is there for fire protection. 45%. There's a lot that goes on. Yes, we're out there doing the maintenance on the hydrants so that the fire department, when they call upon that hydrant, it's operating and it's free and clear from obstructions. And if it's night, they can find them. So we're doing this. A lot of times, all of this work that the water department does is a benefit for the town, because you can get a better rating for insurance. And the more we do on the hydrants and the more records we have and fire flow data we have, I don't know how you go about it, but I know that every town, the fire department has always approached me to assist them with getting a better rating for the insurance for the town. So those folks that have those automatic fire sprinkler suppression systems in their businesses or homes or condos, they get a discount just for having that in there. And so, but this also extends, all these things we do, if you plug in the right information or fill out the right forms to the right group. I mean, can you help, do you know anything about that, Mark?
I've been through it 3 times already.
So you
What
know.
we do is if you guys notice, you got this in your
Yes.
thing. We hired the company to come in and do the hydrant tests that give you a flow for what they were flowing. I've taken it one step further because we actually have the computer software to do this. If you look on this actually tells you what the main will produce if you need to from there. So for an example, 181 Main Street, which is the old doctor's office, now it's a daycare. you can get 4,100 gallons a minute and still have a 20-pound residual in the main, which is what you're supposed to do when you're running a fire. So it just, and when the underwriters come in, I would print this off and hand this to them. So they don't have to go out and do, the first time I did the underwriters, I was actually working for the water department. And we actually physically went out and did flow tests like this. Since then, we've been giving them this. And we're adding to it every year now with Mary Beth. Been doing it, so.
And I'll add.
Way to look at it.
Yeah, and I'll add that Mary Beth, I mean, I think you did a great job identifying the revenue opportunity and putting it together. And I think as a board, one of the things we might have not given enough consideration to is the other goods and services that we as a board get from the town. Accounting services, finance services, police and fire services. So for us to say, you know, this is the hydrant rental, you know, if we want to get into a tit for tat, the town may want to turn around and say, well, we need to assess you
That's
for,
been mentioned at the selectmen's meeting.
you know, and it's fair game. However, we don't want to go down that path, because then that just gets, that is nuts to get into like that.
When I was on the finance committee, because I asked a lot of questions. And one of the big questions I asked, because the enterprise system was new at the time, what is fire hydrant rental for? It was explained to me that because of the enterprise fund, everything has to be accounted for, and so the town has to charge for town treasurer and stuff like that. This was put in at that time for a way of offsetting that, and it was supposed to be a wash. That all it was accounting.
So
Somewhere along the line, it's gone.
there's a revenue opportunity, which is
Yeah.
admirable, because
Yeah.
this department needs to run as an enterprise fund.
Mhm.
It's a business. It's like saying, it's one of the. It's different than the rest of the town. This is a business.
Mhm.
We sell a product, we get the money in. It's not a non-for-profit, but it's not a for-profit either. It's a government entity. And so, anyways, just going forward, I think, you know, it's been educational. I would hope it had kind of panned out a little differently the way it is, but, you know, education has been done. Going forward to do it, I think we just want to talk to the town
I think we need to work
beforehand.
with them.
Yeah,
And,
we'll just set up a meeting and say, listen,
you know,
you know,
talk it back and forth.
we need.
The way I feel about it, gentlemen, I would like to see it level funded. We'd say 2 years, but at least for 1 year.
Because that was a huge increase last year too.
Exactly. And town's tight for money with what's going on. We have to do our part. All work together.
And like I said, it's educational. I mean, more experience with the FinCom, and Steve been in town a long time too, and done a bunch of boards, but, you know, my own background, but again, I think currently, probably, and Mary Beth, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. This is superintendent, you know, right on, but I think as the board, we probably missed that one, and we should have looked at it differently, and, so going forward, and again, I know there's a lot of, you know, swirl going around about it, but you did everything that we've asked you to do, and you were spot on, and you've done a great job with it. But as the board, we probably should have looked at it and said, you know, we need to, you know, kind of have our heads up a little further, looking in the town. And so we've gotten some information, we talked about it, and that's why we've asked you to kind of look and see if we can level fund and come back to us with what the effect is and what we got to cut.
Sure. Just one other thing, because I know that it did get mentioned at the selectmen's meeting. So I did some research, comparison what other towns are charging. And this is like you said, it's an interdepartment, so it's not like it's readily available, not every town publish it. Cambridge charges $500 per hydrant, Pepperell charges $200, Wilmington charges $619, Everett charges $200, Somerville charges $200, Newburyport charges $300, Salem, Mass charges $250, and Topsfield charges $300. So that's what their rates are for their
About
hybrid.
Ipswich and Georgetown where they abut us.
They're not published. I did this
Okay.
on the weekend,
Okay.
looking on the internet for stuff,
I
and
think the
it's,
thing is, if it was brought up gradually, it probably wouldn't have been as much of an issue as it is just all of a sudden there it was.
Well, I think the sensitivity with
And-
regard to the budget situation that's going on and, again, the school's requirements for regional
And,
funds.
and I guess from what I'm hearing, they missed it last year, so they have to have a warrant on the special town meeting to pay for last year's increase. So it wasn't budgeted last year?
right. Last year, I got a phone call from the town administrator asking me if there was going to be an increase in hydrant rentals. And at the time, I had said no, because I didn't have the rate study back. So when the rate study came back, and the board passed the budget, it was too late, the warrant had already been done. So we didn't have a special town meeting in the fall, you know, they were going to have the warrant to do that at special town meeting in the fall. So that's why they're doing it, to clean it up at this town meeting.
So it's looking like a double hit, if you're looking at it real quick.
Okay, so,
Listen, any way we can hold the town, I'll roll that back for last year.
I don't know, we just had the insurance go up, we had the COLA, so we had the insurance, the COLA, the union contract, and then the other insurance thing here is 15 grand, so Mary Beth got us down to 5%, I think we're probably at a 0 at this point. If we weren't, if we had 2 or 3%, you know, under to give back, absolutely, but I think we're
Pretty close.
maybe right on the margin. We do. Can you let us know that, Mary Beth, next week?
Just a thought.
That's it's the right thought. Yeah, I agree with you, but we need to see first.
Well, right now, even with some of the changes made, we've still decreased the request by $170,641, even with some of the things we had no choice, we had to add back in. But keep in mind, as you mentioned, we still don't have the unknown for the wages and salaries. We have to wait
Which
till
you
they have a
probably
signed
won't know till the
contract,
fall town meeting.
which we won't know till fall town meeting.
All right. And I wouldn't want to raise the rates just to balance the budget. So, Bernie had a question?
Yeah, I mean, one more principle, and that is, from a ratepayer's point of view, if my water bill goes up $100, it costs me $100. If my tax bill goes up $100, it doesn't cost me $100, it costs me less than $100. Because it's of the tax, you can deduct your local taxes, but not your water bill. So, other things being equal, I would rather pay a higher real estate tax than water bill.
The only problem is, Bernie, is they can't raise your taxes.
No, I understand, I'm talking about.
That's, so it has to,
from a planning perspective.
it has to be cut out of somebody else's budget
No,
to pay for that.
No, I understand that, I'm saying in terms of a principle, going
Mhm.
forward, if the full cost of dealing with the hydrants is X, and it's, the town accepts the way those costs have been figured, then the town should pick up that X, because
But they're gonna,
net,
but to do that, because of the fact that you cannot go above 2.5% of your last year's phase and new growth, right? Where the school is taking more than that adds up to be, that means somebody's budget's gonna have to be cut, that X number of dollars.
Additionally, we're an enterprise fund, so we're self-funding. I mean, we can't say to the town, well, charge more for that, we just can't do that.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't dream
You know.
of charging you more than it is actually costing, but if it was,
No, I mean, we can't have the town do billing for the hydrants. I mean, it's, the enterprise fund has to run it, it's within our scope of budget, so we can't push it out.
Some communities in my research do have a separate fee that is assessed to a tax bill, and it's a a flat rate, $100 per 200. I did come across that there were other creative ways of.
Was that a water district or was it a municipality enterprise? fund?
Municipality, oh, well, I don't know if it was, that's the unknown. It was-
Because water district runs where it'd be added to your tax bill
Yes,
as opposed to an enterprise fund which goes through water bills.
right. I did not get into the level
Yeah.
of detail, whether it was enterprise or if the water department just was contributing to the general fund. I didn't get that.
Technically, I understand what you're saying, I agree with it, I'd rather be able to write some of that off, but I don't think we're structured to take advantage of something like that, so. Anyways, we're doing good on time. What else we got here, Mary Beth?
You were on the home stretch.
All right, so suggestions for future topics?
I have one. If I may,
Good, please.
we're discussing a new dump truck. My suggestion would be to you gentlemen, the 1 ton out there, you know, when you go to trade something, they don't allow you much. My suggestion is that we donate it to the cemetery, the old one.
Were we thinking of trading it?
That was the plan, the large dump truck and the small one, Mary Beth's plan, to trade them in for a new truck. And my suggestion is the cemetery is looking for a brand new dump. And to help the town out, the price of a new truck, this one out here, the 1-ton dump, would be perfect for them over to the cemetery.
What condition is it in?
I don't know.
Goes down the road.
Yeah, so did the old tree truck, but it brought it out in a matter of
No,
months sitting at the
They use
cemetery.
this one, they're going around the cemetery, put in a yard of sand, get out there and dump it.
Question, Mary Beth?
The water department donated one of the utility body trucks to the cemetery, and it sat in the yard for over 2 years.
I understand that, because the idea was, they wanted to take the body off the old tree truck and put on that one. They never did it. What I'm saying,
Well, it's not on the agenda anyway, so
I understand
Let's
it,
put it on
but
the agenda to discuss.
just
we
put it on
can
the agenda.
discuss it. What I'm saying, I'm not asking for a vote because it's not on the agenda, this is discussion. What I'm suggesting, when the time comes, we offer it to the cemetery. And they either take it or they don't. And when the new truck, when we go out to bid on the new truck, we can have the bid say, these 2 trucks for trade-in value, how much? And we have that option, whether we trade it in or donate it to the cemetery.
Okay, yeah, let's put it on the agenda and get some facts and figures.
Like the last truck, you know, in here, it was bid out, I believe, 2 weeks. When we put it out to bid, remember?
Yeah. Oh, the bid was out, was a 2-week window?
We put it out to bid, I believe, to see if it came under house with the body or without the body, and it came in low. When I say the body, I meant the utility body. But you can write the bid specs any way you want.
Okay,
That's my thought.
okay. Well, let's talk about that next meeting. Let's put it on the agenda and
Yeah.
let's get some facts and figures about
Exactly.
and just look up the Blue Book current for something with that miles and that size.
I'm not gonna have time between now and the next meeting to do all that other stuff and look up pricing for vehicles. I'm just being upfront. I mean, some of the stuff you've asked me to do is gonna be pretty time consuming.
Yeah.
I
I just-
understand that. All I'm asking is to discuss this at the next, take it up for discussion the next meeting.
Okay, let's put it,
That's all.
okay.
What I'm saying is, I'm pulling numbers out of the air. If the deal is allowing you 3,000-4,000 for it, and they appreciate it, the cemetery wants a little bit, donate to them rather than spend $50,000 on a truck to park outside down there just to use it on the cemetery. Doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, no, I'm open to that, so let's put it on the agenda and then just look. I'll try and get by at some point to get the mileage and what those things are. I don't even know what they are. Those trucks, but look them up so we can get some,
Take very short, I can probably do it on my phone.
yeah.
The Blue Book cost on it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, do you want us to try and do that during the week?
If I can get the information, I can
Yeah.
look that up.
Yeah, same thing.
Blue Book
Dormant.
It's not the blue book as much as what they allow you.
Yeah, this, Edmunds will give you the trade. It'll do, private sale, dealer, and then, trade-in value, so you can get the numbers that way. All right, any other topics, guys? Okay, so down to approval of minutes. Number one, March 8th of 2016.
I read through them, they seemed all right to me.
Yeah, I didn't really have any,
I don't have a problem.
entertain the motion?
So
Make
moved.
them.
Yep,
Go
still
ahead.
good.
I'll make a motion, we
I'll
approve the
second it.
minutes from March 8,
All-
2016.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, good. 16, good. Moving on to September 29th, 2015. And was this one of the ones that we were having problems getting the attachments? Yeah,
Yes,
okay, so I think all the attachments are in here now.
yes, and they are attached.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've gone through these several times. Any further discussion on these?
I'll abstain, because the two were the ones that were there.
Oh, okay. Any motion to approve?
I'll make the motion, we approve.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain?
Yep. Good. Update missing executive session minutes from September 11th and vote to approve. Is this one that we are not to be releasing?
Yes, you're going to approve them, and they're not for release.
Are these the ones that are under review by council?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I don't think you could vote on
I
these.
don't think either one of us could, because you weren't at the executive session either.
You can approve them out of
Out of
necessity.
necessity.
Yeah, so,
I think we have-
entertain a motion to approve out of necessity.
So moved.
I think I should abstain from that one.
Understood. All second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And abstained? Stu. Now, this last pack that we all have is executive session minutes on necessity. These are all not executive sessions, are they?
Yes, they are.
They are, okay.
So,
And many of these, I wasn't here for.
right, so you're gonna approve them out of necessity. Following a cue of the selectmen, where after everybody took that open meeting law training, we realized that, executive session minutes have always just been taken and then tucked away. So we have to review them every now and again, and if they're no longer necessary for them to be kept in a file drawer, they need to be released. So you have in your packet, these executive session minutes are not to be released, but these actually need to be voted out of necessity.
You have December 10th, 2010, April 12th, 2000, 16 years ago.
this is, at this point, gentlemen, this is record keeping. Some of these are so old. So,
Make a motion, we accept them, approve them, because we have to.
out of necessity.
Out of necessity.
I
We
need
get the words
to
out.
go home and read them before I approve them. Before I vote, it's a few, something.
I think it's stuff that we're gonna have to clear up anyway, so.
Yeah,
Out of necessity.
I'm gonna second it, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'll abstain.
Okay. And Stu, I'm just putting these to bed. Good.
They've
I
been-
understand.
they've been going on way too long.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, 16 years.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't mind a vote from out of necessity, but I'd like to read them.
Okay, and that concludes the official portion of the program. Anything else, gentlemen?
I have nothing.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Mary Beth, anything else you'd like to address, or you good?
I'm
Okay. All right, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.